Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth and today I'm going to be kind of focusing on work-life balance and kind of the chapter of how to survive work life. I chose this part or section of the book just because I felt like it was so relevant and applicable to just my life and so many people. I'm about to graduate in the spring, and I think that having a very solid foundation of what work-life balance is and the benefits and the strategies of it is extremely important and can take you very far. And I just felt like this chapter was super eye-opening for me and was something I kind of wanted to unpack and learn more about. So starting off with what is work-life balance. So I think a lot of people can have some different interpretations of this. The book was kind of talking about how depending on how you are as a person, you can think of it in different ways. So I think of the work part as just like either being at your job, being in your office, or just doing things related to your job. Maybe you be working on your computer at home, anything that's work related. And then the life part to me has always been very family oriented. So family time with friends, that type of thing. But the book also talked about how that time can be spent doing leisurely things or downtime or chores or needing to relax or reset, stuff like that. So it can be interpreted in very different ways. But something that the book really touched on was just the boundary of both. So you kind of just have to create a boundary in between that work and kind of personal life. So you're kind of combining the professional and personal aspects. But that making that boundary and forming that is very important. And the book kind of just went into the importance of that boundary and how you can create that. So that kind of is just what work-life balance is. To me, I wouldn't say there's a strong definition of that, but basically just keeping things balanced. What's important to you. And then the next thing we're going to be talking about is strategies for this work-life balance. So I'm kind of going to just list some that I found throughout the book. So learning how to let things go, establish boundaries at work and stick with them, prioritize your time, ask for help, knowing yourself, and developing emotional intelligence. So a few things that kind of stuck out to me, I'm not going to go through all of them, but a few things that really stuck out to me was establishing boundaries at work and sticking to them. So I think this is very important, and I think these boundaries can look differently for everyone. So an example of this could be like, okay, I'm not going to get on my email anytime after 5 p.m. Or I'm not going to work on the weekends at all. Or I'm going to stay extra in the office on Tuesday and Thursday a couple hours, but then I'm leaving right when work ends Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So kind of just creating those healthy habits at work are really important, and just creating those boundaries, but also sticking to them is super important. Consistency is everything. We've talked about this, I feel like, with just like workouts or habits or just anything in the workforce, consistency is key. So making sure you're sticking to these boundaries is really important. I think asking for help is something that is so not talked about enough. I think in this day and age, we think we can do everything, and asking the people around you for help is important. And I think asking your spouse or your parents or your friends just to hold you accountable, or kind of ask them what their boundaries are. Talk about this work-life balance. And if you're struggling with it, I think asking for help is really important because everyone needs some guidance. Knowing yourself is also super important. So if you know you are a workaholic and you cannot get off your computer because you just work, maybe set some timers for yourself on different softwares that will kick you out if you're overworking yourself. So just knowing yourself and how to prioritize your rest and the best version of yourself, super important. And then also prioritizing your time. So there's a lot of hours in the day that I think we don't always think about. People are just so busy, but we have a lot of hours. So if you feel like you kind of wake up later, make sure waking up early, prioritizing your time, maybe getting in a workout if that's what's going to be healthy for you, things like that. So those are all strategies that I really liked from the book, and I think that I will definitely continue to use. Okay, so this concept is meaningful to me for a lot of different reasons, but I think that growing up, I had two parents that were educators and they were very passionate about their job. They loved it. They were great at what they did. But they really had a good boundary set on kind of what was family time, what was work life. They never really let that kind of form together. Whenever they were with me or my siblings, they were very present. They weren't on their phone or on their email, always working. They left to work at work and then came home and were completely just present with us. Were they a little bit stressed sometimes from an overwhelming day? For sure. But I felt like they set an excellent example of kind of how that should be. So knowing that and kind of talking to my friends as they grew up, I know some people that had nannies all the time and didn't get to see their parents much or just had like kind of a hard childhood with that work-life balance and kind of saw how their parents navigated that. So I was very lucky that I had great examples, and I want to make sure that when I'm older and have children and I'm working, that I can make sure to prioritize that and also set a good example, because I think that's huge. So that's kind of why I wanted to even speak on this, because I feel like it is a problem in today's age, especially because work can be so mobile on technology. So I think having that balance and being a role model for your kids is super important. And then talking about benefits of work-life balance is similar to the strategy aspect, but just kind of the good things of why work-life balance is so important. So it allows you to stay away from being burnt out, employee retention is better, creates a win-win situation for your personal and professional life, personal and organizational health, better relationships and leadership skills, and employees feeling supported. So I kind of took a lot of different benefits from throughout the chapter, but some that really stuck out to me is allows you to stay away from burnout. The chapter talked a lot about burnout and what that was, and I think that right now that's something a lot of people struggle with. Basically, burnout is when you get really into your job, you're really like passionate and you want to do so much and you kind of overwork yourself at a very quick amount of time, and then you want nothing to do with it and you just have no motivation and can't really stand the job anymore. So we're seeing that more and more as people are just even turned 30 and they're already burnt out of their job. That all kind of stems from not having that healthy work-life balance. So having that work-life balance will allow you to stay from being burnt out. It'll allow you to feel more positive, motivated, and inspired with your job, which is great. Employee retention will be better because people aren't leaving their job so quickly. They're not getting burnt out. They're liking their job because they have a healthy relationship with it. And better relationships and leadership skills. So if you're a boss to a company, it's definitely going to affect the people around you if you're giving more to your personal life than your professional life. And that shows. So if it's healthy balance, then you'll have a better relationship with everyone in the office and everyone at home or your friends. And you'll also just be a better leader, and your employees will just feel a lot more supported as a whole. So one of my biggest takeaways of this chapter was just time management and developing that. I think that can be really difficult for some people, but that's something that we talk about probably at age like 12. Time management, kind of how to develop those skills, and it's definitely harder. It's easier said than done, but there is a lot of benefits to developing time management, and I think that also has a lot to do with a healthy work-life balance. So that was just one of my biggest takeaways, and something that I feel like once people develop that time management, life and balancing everything gets way easier and less overwhelming. And then kind of just how I'm going to use this in the future. I kind of feel like I'm already using it. I know I'm not completely in the workforce, but kind of balancing my job on campus, my classes, my sorority, my friends, my family. Balancing all of that is a lot in itself. And I think learning about all of this stuff and thinking about the strategies and the benefits only motivates me even more to have a better, healthier relationship with work-life balance. So I'll just try to keep these strategies in mind, especially being post-grad, and also keep the people in mind. I think that family and friends are the most important thing to me. So just knowing that having a healthy work-life balance will only help my relationships with people at work and my family and my friends, because they're going to respect you. And if you're prioritizing them, they're going to prioritize you. And it just overall allows for a more positive and healthy environment. So yeah, that's kind of summing up kind of what I learned from the chapter of how to survive work life balance, and all that stuff. And it was really interesting to kind of dive deeper into it and just learn more about the benefits and the strategies. And I'll make sure that after this course, I can continue to kind of just shine the light of how important this is. But yeah, have a good day.